And now this, if you're thinking about buying a new car or maybe a used car, the color that you choose can greatly determine the value in the future. Joining us this morning to talk about it is Carl Brauer, executive analyst at iSeeCars.com. Hey, Carl, how you doing?
Doing great. Great to be on with you.
Thanks for spending some time with us. So I understand here you guys looked at 650,000 cars. What did you find out about color?
What we found is what might surprise people is that colors that you don't think of as very common, like yellow and orange, actually help resale value much better than more common colors like white, black, or silver. And I think it really reflects not necessarily those colors' widespread popularity, but that there are more people who want them than there are out there, which helps raise the value of anything if the supply isn't at the same level as demand.
Interesting. So a supply and demand, not really like a hot color. So it doesn't really take in, I don't know, fashion, or I don't even know what would dictate color in the design process.
Yeah, I think a lot of designers really want to have unique colors that look cool on the cars. But then there's always that kind of mainstay color palette of white, black, and silver that you just see on so many cars. And so it's kind of a push-pull. Do you go mainstream and play it safe, or do you go more obscure and maybe get a car that's a color that's more rare and more valuable, as long as you can find the right buyer?
Right. That's always the key. What kinds of vehicles did you guys look at? I mean, was it all kinds, from sedans to SUVs? What did you look at?
Yeah, we looked at the overall market, and that's where we came up with colors like yellow and orange being at the top of holding resale value up. But then we also looked at individual segments, and it got interesting because you saw some definite variation. Beige isn't a particularly popular color overall, but for whatever reason, it's very popular on pickup trucks. It's very popular within that segment, helped hold up their value.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that recently on one of the Toyota special editions, where they only chose one color that was in sort of a sandy, tan kind of desert. Hey, color, what do you think about the yellow and the orange, though? Back to that for a minute. Was that mostly the supply and the demand feature? Or why do you think yellow and orange specifically were so high on that list?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have a relatively small percentage of the population who really wants those colors. Might be 3, 4, 5% of all buyers. But if there's only 1, 2% of those cars out there, then when you're trying to sell one and someone is looking for those colors, they know, oh, that's a yellow one. I can hardly ever find one of those, and they'll pay more for it.
Okay, so I think we answered our producer Jared's question. He was asking, why aren't there more yellow vehicles out there? So is the simple answer just demand isn't there, or what?
Well, and it takes a certain kind of vehicle too. We did see yellow overall hold up value, but then it was really specific, like the Jeep Wrangler comes in yellow, and that's a super popular vehicle that holds its value in general well, and then the yellow actually helps it even more. Orange was popular on certain trucks, like you mentioned. There's TRD trucks from Toyota that come in this kind of orange color, but you can't pull off a yellow minivan. It's hard to pull off a yellow sedan even, so a lot of the segments, it just doesn't work in real well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. Like there was a time when the new Beetles came out from Volkswagen, right? And they had a bunch of crazy colors. There's somebody in our neighborhood, my wife and I mentioned it when we take the kids out for a walk, that has a lime green pickup, and she always comments on that. I mean, in a way, I feel like with nail polish, you come up with all these crazy names and crazy shades. I guess, is the auto industry similar? They do a lot of research into maybe what they call these colors and how they brand or market them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you look at someone like Dodge, right, who has all the crazy colors on the Challengers and the Chargers, and they brought back names from the early 70s like Plum Crazy Purple, and I think the new one now is like a darker maroon color, and they call it Hell Raisin. So, they have these creative color names. But again, that audience, people love it. The purple is one of the strongest colors for sedans, not because it's widespread across the sedan segment, but those purple Dodge Chargers, they're worth a lot more money to people. So that holds up the whole sedan segment somewhat for the color purple.
Interesting. So even some of the other brands where maybe the color wasn't so popular, it holds the value a little more, just I get guilty by association. Just people want that, or however that works.
Yeah, exactly. And all you need are a few vehicles within a segment that are really holding up value better because of the color they're in. And it kind of pulls both that color's value up as well as the segment for that color's value up.
What does the color choice do to price if you're maybe buying a new car, trying to customize or something? Does it change it very much?
It's now more common than ever, I think, to have manufacturers and dealers pick specific colors. Launch colors are very popular now that are very specific to a car. and people pay more for them because they know now I'm going to drive down the road and people are going to see that I didn't just get the new, XYZ model. I got it in this color, and that color was only offered on the launch edition. So color has become another way for dealers and manufacturers to make more money because people are getting more adventuresome overall and trying out these colors and paying more for them.
And paying more for them, yeah. Speaking of that shopping part of it, and maybe we'll close it out here. For buyers that are going to the lot, my wife and I want to upgrade our minivan. Is it worth choosing a color based upon depreciation, or do you just get what you want? Don't worry, you're not going to save or lose that much down the road. What do you think?
I think if you're going to keep the car for a long time, in general, you should always just get the color in the car you want. If you know you're going to split the car relatively shortly after you get it, though, try to find something that splits the difference between what you want and what the larger market will pay more for. And if you can get an SUV in yellow or a Charger in purple that you think will hold its value better over the long term, maybe pick one of those colors.
Gotcha. And before you go, Carl, where can some of our viewers go to get a closer look at this study? I mean, 650,000 cars, that's quite a big study.
Yeah, there's a lot of information for each segment. If you go to iSeeCars.com, there's a research button up there right at the top of the homepage, and you click on that, you'll see all our recent studies, including this one. It'll give you all the details. That's awesome. Carl Brauer, executive analyst at iSeeCars.com. Thanks for your time. This was a fun conversation, Carl. Great being on with you guys. Have a good morning.